yogis. I don't know who's out there that might need to hear this message today, but one of the things that I do as a yoga instructor in many of the classes, and if you've been practicing with me, you know this as well, is that I bring maybe some sort of word of encouragement. I feel like that's an important piece of yoga, whether it's through the philosophy of yoga or just through a theme around whatever maybe the seasons are or the world's going through or whatnot. And so today the practice is on acceptance. And this is a big part of our yoga practice, whether it's learning to accept ourselves or others, or maybe our situation that we're in. Yoga is not about self-improvement. It's about self-acceptance. That's something you hear a lot, a saying I've heard a lot. And I like that because it has taught me, and hopefully teaches other yogis, to find acceptance of their self and their body. I've learned for myself that I'm stronger than I thought I was. And so even if my physical body maybe doesn't look in the mirror and appear the way that I might wish, I find more acceptance personally when I know that I'm strong and capable. So it brought that. Sometimes it's learning to accept that the pose isn't going to be perfect, that the words out of my mouth as an instructor might not be perfect, and I'm good with that too. So that's also acceptance. I think the word acceptance sometimes just brings us to this idea of, oh, it's the final stage in the grieving process. And you know, that is true, but there's so many other ways we can bring acceptance into our lives. I think the yoga also speaks to this kind of indirectly in our Yoga Sutras. There's two ideas and thoughts in the niyamas. One of them is called aparigraha, which means non-grasping, and the other is santosha, which means contentment. And when I think about non-grasping, or not trying to make everything how I want it or get whatever I want, and when I think about contentment, I think those speak to acceptance. So I'm just going to bring you a short practice today, kind of weaving in this thought of accepting where you're at today, accepting whatever's going on, and living in a space of acceptance for yourself and for others. So if you'll just go ahead and come to your mat with me, we're going to start in a child's pose. You can have your legs together and hips tucked back, or if you prefer, bring your big toes to touch and widen your knees. And just sink down and find your breath here in your child's pose today. Let your forehead drop to the floor if it'll reach. Feel your breath coming into your body. Begin to feel an inhale into the back side of the body, lifting and the back a little. Rising just a slight bit, and then exhaling your way deeper into your pose, into the safety of this child's pose. Let the breath be long, coming in and out through the nose. And bring to your mind today, what or who could you use a little bit more acceptance with? And just like our yoga asana, it is a practice, practicing acceptance daily, sometimes moment by moment. Good. Inhale, come into tabletop position. Bring your wrists underneath your shoulders, your knees underneath your hips, flatten out your back, broaden through your shoulders. Just move around a little bit organically here, stretching out the body a little, and then begin to find that stillness once again. Curl 10 toes under for this cat-cow today to stretch the arches as well. So try to even get your pinky toes curled under. Pull the navel to the spine, inhale, lower the belly, pull your chest and heart through, gaze up, open your sit bones. Exhale, round your spine, tuck your tail, chin to the chest, press back into those toes a little bit. Good. Move with your breath. Inhale, opening up the heart. Exhale. Chin towards chest. Round the spine. Inhale into this space of thinking of acceptance. Exhale, round back towards yourself and think about accepting yourself. Good. One more time. Come back to your flat back. Keep your toes curled under and walk your hands one handprint forward, gripping the mat with your fingertips. Inhale, lift your hips up, set your heels down and back, downward facing dog. Find organic movement in your down dog here as you send your heart back. You can bend the knees, bend one knee then the other. You can send your heels side to side, but just really start to lengthen the arms back without locking the elbows. Take the pressure out of the wrists as you send some weight into the back body, front thigh to back thigh, hips high. Settle into some stillness in down dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Inhale, just scoop your weight forward towards plank pose. Continue to reach the weight forward, roll over your toes, drop your pelvis down, drop the legs down, uncurl the toes, drop the shoulders down your back. Bhujangasana, cobra pose. Tuck the belly in, roll the toes back under, lift up, press the hands deeply into the mat, rolling our way all the way back, downward facing dog. Inhale, come up on the toes, float your weight forward, pull your heart through a bit, drop the pelvis down, unwind back into cobra. Rock the toes under you, pull the navel in, reach the hips high, sweep it back up. Draw broadness through the shoulders one last time. Roll it forward, nice and strong, elbows pressing back. And downward facing dog. Lower to the knees, uncurl the toes, sit back, child's pose. Walk your hands to the right, off of your mat even if you can. Stretch your side body out here, placing left hand on the right. Pull the left hip gently back and down. Keep breathing. Come through your center, walk the hands back to the center, all the way over to the left. Stretch your right hand on top of the left. Pull your right hip back. Come back to center and then inhale back to tabletop position. Come onto your fingertips and sweep your right foot forward into a low lunge. Square your hips. Right knee and right ankle line up. Inhale, sweep the arms up overhead. Set your shoulders down into their sockets here. Place the hands behind the head, clasp the fingertips, push the head back into the fingertips, elbows out. Inhale, unwind, bring those hands back up, separating the hands. Exhale, take the hands down to the mat, plant the left hand, rotate your body into a twist here, belly button in towards the right thigh, right arm rises, breathe. Press the top of your left foot into the mat, the left shin, right foot. Inhale, engage the core. Reach all the way up into a twisted lift here. Look back over your right fingers. Unwind back to the center, hips forward. Inhale the arms up. Exhale the hands down to the mat. Pick up the left toes, sweep back, downward facing dog. Plant those fingertips deeply into the earth, roll forward. Drop the pelvis down, unwind, cobra pose. Inhale, reach up and back. Downward facing dog. Exhale, roll forward. Look up if you can. Good. Pull the gaze back towards the legs. Down dog. Last time through. From down dog, lower to the knees. Child's pose. Sweep the arms back, this time round the spine. Hands towards feet, top of the head towards the floor. Balasana. Come into a little ball, give yourself a little squeeze. Relax. Inhale, sweep the arms forward. Come towards your tabletop. Tone the belly, left foot through. Low lunge. Left knee over left ankle, hips squared. Inhale, reach the arms up. This time, exhale, place the fingertips clasping behind you at the back. Palms come together. Drop the shoulders down. Breathe into that acceptance. Whatever your pose looks like today, whatever the body is doing today, find gratitude, find acceptance. Inhale, release the hands, sweep them back up overhead. Exhale, taking the twist this side, right arm down, left arm up, long spine. Keep your left hip pulled just gently back. Take your gaze up to your left fingertips. Release the left hand down on the exhale. Pick your right toes up, right knee off of the mat. Step your way forward and take forward fold. Lift your hips, lift your sit bones, sink your head. Lengthen out through the spine. Think nose to knee sort of movement here. Unlock the knees. If you need to shake your head a little bit here very gently just to let go of some tension, feel free. Shoulders are soft. Maybe even a good sigh out the mouth here. Slowly roll your way up, just one vertebrae at a time, taking your time, coming up to standing mountain pose. Roll the shoulders down the back. Breathe your hands into your heart center. Breathe into your acceptance of how the world is today. And then recognize what you can do from that space to bring your light and love, your positivity. Denying anything never made it better, but accepting and bringing our best selves to it, that has power. Release the hands down, standing mountain pose, palms forward. It's been said that stability found at the center of balance is acceptance. So we're going to work on some balance, see if we can find some stability, see if we can find some acceptance today, yogis. So let's stand onto our left leg, bring our right knee up into the air. Begin to find that little wiggle in your left ankle and lift up on your left arch. Hug this right knee in towards your chest. Give yourself a great big squeeze and stand up tall. Begin to just bring the right knee out to the right. Good. Let's find our way into tree pose today. You can kickstand here at the bottom. Put your foot into your calf without touching the knee, or all the way up into the thigh, your choice. Stand tall, shoulders soft, bring your hands to heart center to start. Again, lifting up on a standing arch and really pressing our roots down into the earth. Inhale, sweep the arms all the way up overhead, kind of into an open V shape. If you're feeling good, bend the right elbow, send it towards the right knee, and send your left arm up and over. If we fall out of the pose, great place to practice this acceptance that we're talking about today, accepting where we're at today. That is perfectly fine, even finding a good little giggle. Like, oh, that's funny. Good. Bring your hands together at the heart center. Bring your right knee forward. Step it down. Standing mountain pose. Hands down. Beautiful. Begin to find rooting of the right foot. Good. Take the left foot up. Give yourself that squeeze. Find that balance. Find the wiggle. Your ankles strengthening. The balance is coming. Learning the acceptance in the space of the centeredness of the balance. Good. Rotate. Left knee out. And then finding whichever version of tree we did on the other side if we can. Different version if we need. Safety, avoid the knee. Sit up nice, stand up nice and tall. Hands to the heart center. Inhale, sweep the arms all the way up into the V. Tall tree, reach, reach, reach. Branches reaching. Find your stability. Gather your acceptance. Center it right at the heart. Gently release. Back to our standing mountain pose. Nice work. Inhale and sweep the arms all the way back up overhead. Exhale, forward fold. Step your right foot back. Bend the left knee over the left ankle. Keep your hips squared. Inhale, sweep the arms all the way up. If you need the back knee to drop down, feel free to come back to low lunge, otherwise staying in crescent lunge. Bring your hands out to a T, rotate to the left. Look back to your left fingers if you can. Inhale back to center. Exhale, hands down to the mat. Step forward, deepen your fold. Press into the balls of the feet a little heavier than the heels. Tuck your belly, make room for this fold. Send your left foot back. Inhale, sweep the arms up overhead. Soften the shoulders down the back. Clasp the hands. Set the head back into the hands. Inhale the arms up and clasp behind you. Sink those knuckles down, broaden through the chest, shoulders onto the back. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Exhale, hands down. Step the right foot back, meet the left in a downward facing dog. Adding just a bit of strength to our practice here, floating back into our plank pose. We're not going to come to the earth, to the Bhujangasana. We're going to lift back, down dog. Just switching it up a little bit here. Strength, roll forward, plank pose, belly in, bum under, lift up, down dog. Lengthen those legs, lengthen the spine. Let's do one more. Downward facing dog, knees drop to the earth, child's pose. Long arms, soft shoulders, forehead to the ground. We're going to move into a nice little stretch here in pigeon pose. Inhale your way back into your downward facing dog. We're going to open those hips up a little bit today. Acceptance comes here. Everybody is different. Your body is different day to day, moment to moment sometimes. Do the best you can. Inhale, sweep the right leg up into the air. Let's open that hip up before we come to the pigeon pose. Bend the right knee. Send your belly button to the right. Push your right heel towards your left ear. You can gaze under your right armpit or over your left shoulder. Come back towards three-legged dog, squaring hips and shoulders. Now, right knee pulls forward and lands right behind the right wrist while my right ankle lands right behind the left wrist. Begin to drop the left knee down, walk the left top of the foot back, and come into your pigeon pose. Now, your right heel can tuck just a little bit back towards the hip flexor, and your right glute can just float a little bit off of the mat here. Push down into the left thigh. Keep your fingertips kind of like little tents here out in front of you, just a ways. For a little ocean move, if you practice Ujjayi breath, then go ahead and include that here. Take a nice big inhale. Exhale, bend the elbows, float forward. Press into the fingers. Inhale, round your way back up. Exhale, lengthen forward. Think a little bit like cat-cow motion, like an ocean wave, finding your breath with the movement. Lengthening out the spine. You feel the little tug and pull into the right hip and glute. Take one more. Now sink it all the way down as deeply as you can. Try not to spill over into the right glute. Keep your pelvis equal and breathe. Drop your head down either onto your arms, a block. If you want, if you can't come that far, you can always bend the elbows. Place your head into your hands here. Let the breath deepen and send the breath where you need to soften it. Send the breath in the places where you need to let go. Accept that sometimes we're holding on just a little too tightly, and we can choose to begin to let go. It's a practice, just like our yoga practice. And inhale, walk the hands back towards you. Place them into that down dog position at the top of the mat. Begin to press your hands in, strengthen your shoulders, lift up off of the hips and off of the back leg, and then send that right leg all the way back. Coming back into down dog. Like a little inverted V shape. If you're not sure if you got there into the right position, just float forward. As long as you can come to a strong plank with your bum down, you're good. Press into the right foot. Inhale, take the left leg into the air this time. Bend the left knee. Send that left heel back towards right ear. Belly button to the left. Torso turning gently to the left. Right shoulder strong. You can look over the right shoulder if you like. Rotate back to three-legged dog. Square your hips, square your shoulders, and then we bring the left foot through. Left knee behind the left wrist, left ankle behind the right wrist. Drop the right knee down. This is where we can decide if we need to pull this right heel or left heel in towards the right hip flexor rather a little bit. Keep the pelvis level. Don't roll onto the left. Push the right thigh down. Breathe. Lengthen out of that low back. Work the hands just a little forward into our tent stakes. We're on the fingers. We're strengthening those fingers here in this. Inhale. Exhale. Float forward. Long spine. Pull it back. Round through the spine. Float it forward. Draw the heart forward. Lengthen out. Draw all the way back. See if we can find the movement with the breath. Inhale. Exhale. Keep the belly toned a little bit here. Last cycle. Let this exhale sink you all the way down. Use this breath. The breath really separates our yoga practice from other practices. Breath brings life and transformation. We're talking about acceptance today. Draw back to those things, situations, people, yourself that you need to have greater acceptance for. Just picture what that means to you today. How does that translate off your mat? What does that mean to you and to them? Take a couple more breaths here. Soften your jaw, unclench the teeth, maybe even smile. Inhale, hands back to the mat, down dog positioning. Curl the right toes under, pick yourself up off the mat, send it back, downward facing dog. Send the heels a little lower now. Send the heart back just a bit more. Round the shoulders apart. Relax your neck. Dropping on down to the knees, this time wide legs, so knees out to the wide edge of the mat, long edge of the mat, toes to touch. Sweep those hips back. Bend the elbows just slightly. Come into a wide-legged child's pose. Drop your heart, drop your head. And back the arms up just a bit, lifting the heart a tiny bit off of the mat. Send your left arm underneath the right, and then left shoulder down to the mat. Then re-engage the right arm forward. So we thread the needle, left arm under right. Head touches down to the earth. And send the right hand back a little bit, press up into the right hand, unwind, left hand to the mat, and then take the opposite. Take the right shoulder down, right arm underneath the left, head down to the mat facing, gaze to the left, and then reach the left arm long. Pull your left arm back, press into the left hand, unwind. Very nice. Work those knees back together and then come off of the heels there a little bit and work your feet a little bit wider. So my knees are about, I would say, a block's distance if you were using a yoga block apart, but not as wide as the mat, or about hip distance or a little wider. All right, so then we want to take, if you've got some muscly or large calves, kind of roll them open and then sit down and back between the legs. Now maybe that's not going to work for you, and that's okay. You could sit on a block, or you could simply work your knees together and sit down. Okay, so those are your options here. Go ahead and find that position. Good. Sit nice and tall. Bring your hands to your heart. Breathe. This is a big stretch on the knees. Breathe into that space. Good. If you'd like, you can begin to bring the hands behind you. Lean back into the hands just a bit. Maybe even coming down onto your forearms. Looking down the body. If you want to come all the way to your mat, you certainly can. Lean all the way back. Just be careful here. Never go further than what your body says, accepting where we're at today in our practice. It is a beautiful way to just begin to learn the skills that you can take off your mat of acceptance. Every day, every moment. Maybe we can't change it. Maybe we can. But the first step is just being in it, leaning into it. Wherever you've come from it to, if you've taken it all the way back, you're going to press into your elbows, lift your heart, and then press back onto the hands and lift up. Now, very gently, wherever we came to, we're going to push the weight forward. Oof, give those knees a little break. Go ahead, cross the ankles, sit down behind those feet. Good, and then draw the knees out in front of you and give a little love to the knees, huh? Good. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Exhale, folding forward, lengthen, lengthen, lengthen. Pull the elbows back, reach up nice and tall again, like you're rowing a boat. Exhale, lengthen, fold all the way forward, and then pull it back and use your core. Lift it up. Exhale, fold. Bring it back. Inhale, reach it up. Keep going. Toes are lifted, heels are planted. Connect inward. Moving meditation. Breathe. Last one. Can we sink it all the way forward and hold? Grab onto legs, feet, whatever you can. Lengthen out through your spine, through your legs, toes lifted, crown of head towards toes, shoulders back away from ears. Let it go. Inhale, look at your toes, lift back up. Nice work, guys. Go ahead and bring yourself into a easy seated pose. Sukhasana, root the sit bones, lift up nice and tall. Bring your hands to your heart. Nice practice, yogis. If you have time today, I ask you to go ahead and lay down onto your mat for Shavasana. However, if today you need to get going into your day, that's okay too. Breathe into acceptance wherever you've decided to be. And let me leave you with this quote from Lao Tzu. Life is a series of natural and spontaneous changes. Don't resist them, that only creates sorrow. Let reality be reality. Let things flow naturally forward in whatever way they like. Stay as long as you'd like in your Shavasana, or we can part ways here, yogis. The light in me honors and salutes the light in you. May we move in acceptance. Namaste.